If you see me, you see my business, guys. If you see me, you see my business. Finally, after a week, after 8 days rather, of my birds laying, I have finally clocked one crate of eggs. Hooray! The first crate of eggs on my farm for my 1,000 birds, as you can see me carrying it. So they started on Monday, today's week, last week, on the 13th, and they gave me one egg. Then the next day, it was zero eggs. The next day, the third day, it was zero eggs. Then the fourth day, they gave me two eggs. Then the fifth day, it was another two eggs. The sixth day also, it was another two eggs. So I thought that now they were playing the formation of 1-0-0-2-2-2. But then on the sixth day, I had nine eggs. It jumped to nine eggs. Then, then that came to 16 eggs. Then on the seventh, no, the eighth day, which was the Monday, I had 14 eggs, and that was a record number of eggs. So adding to the previous 16 eggs, it gave me 30 eggs, and that is this one that I'm carrying. One crate of eggs after 8 days. So up to now, it is still the brown bears who are laying. The white chicks are yet to lay any egg at all. What is happening? At all, what is happening? What is happening? What is happening? Could it be the beaking and the defeathering, or what at all could it be? What at all could be the reason why the white bears are not yet laying? Some of you suggested that the white bears will lay before the brown bears, but then it turned out not to be so. The brown bears have rather laid and laid and continue to lay even after 8 full days. The white bears haven't laid yet. What could be the reason? What at all could be the reason? After 8 days of the brown bears laying, the white bears are yet to lay. So, one additional important update I want to give you today is that fortunately, I have found a buyer. I have found a buyer for this crate of egg already. Thank God. And fortunately, the person has even asked for 4 crates of these to be supplied on Friday. That is I think the 24th or so, 24th of April. And since today is just Monday, I'm hoping that by Friday, the birds will lay the remaining 3 crates of eggs to cover up for this person who is asking for 4 crates of eggs. And most importantly, the person agreed to pay 50 cedis for this particular crate of eggs, the initial ones. And let me say that quite a few of them are in the medium size range, and then a lot of them are below the small size range. So I think a mix up of it together, the person says she will give us 50 cedis per crate. And the last time I did my research actually showed that I should sell for 55 cedis per crate for an unsalted crates of eggs for 55 Ghana cedis, and that is for those who are buying to also go and resell. For which reason, if somebody is buying this at 50 cedis, I think it's just okay for now. Or what do you think? Again, today we prepared another set of feed for our birds. So whereas I thought that we were now going to change the feed, my consultant thinks otherwise. He says that the 9 eggs that was laid, it represented 0.9% of 0.9% of under 1% of my best lay, for which reason there is still the need to continue with the grower mash for up to 5% of the best laying before we can change it. For which reason we went to prepare a half ton of grower mash to add to my best, which would mean that they would have eaten a total of 3.5 tons of grower mash before. So 3 tons of grower mash before they starting to lay, and then an additional half ton of grower mash for them to get to the 5% laying before we switch it. As you can see it behind me, this is still the grower mash that we prepared yesterday, and then To my left here is layer mash, which we also prepared half ton of it just to keep, so that as soon as the grower mash is exhausted and we get to the 5% laying percentage, then we just switch to the layer mash. However, the cost of it, the cost of it, I'll get to that later. But then that will mean that the previous 1 ton of grower mash we prepared at 5,000 Ghana cedis, which was the third ton, the best ate it for 19 days. 19 days. And now this half ton, probably they will eat it for about 8, or maximum, let's say maximum of 8 days before. And that would have taken them to more than 17 weeks old before we switch to the layer mash. So the total amount of money we spent on the layer mash at 21st of April 2026 is 2,500 Ghana cedis, and this seems a little lower. No, I think it should be the same amount of money. If we double this 2,500 by 2, that will give us 2,000. That will give us 5,000 Ghana cedis, and that should be about the same amount as the previous 1 ton we prepared. So prices still the same for the 1 ton of grower mash as at almost 5,000 Ghana cedis. So we prepared half ton, which is half of that, 2,500 Ghana cedis. So they ate it for 19 days. The previous one also, they ate it for 19 days. And then the second one, they ate it for 21 days. And the very first one, they ate it for 17 days. So this is how the changes or the imbalances have been in the number of days the chicks or the birds eat the grower mash. So in all, the total number of grower mash they would have eaten would be 3.5 tons. Then chick mash, the total quantity they ate before being switched at the 8th week was also 3 tons of chick mash. And then also incidentally, the total quantity of magic feed they were also given was 3 bags. So 3 bags of 3 bags of magic feed, 3 tons of chick mash, and 3.5 tons of grower mash. So now let's see how much layer mash they are going to eat when we eventually get in there. So this will, those of you maybe who are calculating to know the total amount of money you need to be spending or the total quantity of feed you need to be giving to your birds, I just indicated that for 1,000 birds of mine, 3 bags of magic feed to receive them, 3 tons of chick mash from 1 week to 8th week, then 3.5 tons of grower mash from 8 weeks to the 17th week before we now switching to layer mash. That is how far we have traveled with this particular kind of project. So far it's been okay. Very lucky. We are very lucky that the cost of maize have been down. Also, exchange rates have been a little down, for which reason there have not been incredible increases in the various prices. But then that is fine for those of us who are now starting, because we don't have much money in our hands, for which reason we're just fine with this, even though those doing the grains are complaining. But for now, we will be at the corner thanking God that we can feed our chicks for now. So that is how far I have come in today's video. The first is to let you know that I'm proud that finally I've been able to get 1 crate of eggs after 8 days of laying. And then also I have found somebody who said she will buy a crate at 50 cedis and she will need 4 crates by Friday. And I'm hoping that my birds will be able to cover for the remaining 3 crates of eggs today to make it 4 to deliver to that particular client. And then also we have prepared half ton of grower mash to add it to the 3 tons they already fed to bring it to a total of 3.5 tons of grower mash that they have fed before they started laying up to 5%, after which we then switch to the layer mash. So this is how far I've come with this video. Thank you so much. My excitement is just clouding my video, but then I think you forgive me. Bye bye for now.